fellow travelers. My name is Jamie Chaos.
And Annie Lace.
And we're joining Chibi and Vertec at the Golden Feather Tavern.
Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertec, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. Every week, we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest, to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 18th of August, 2024, and we are in episode 220, Alphas of Creation. And traveling bards joining us today are Jamie and Annie of Tangents of Creation. How are you two doing today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good ourselves.
Here.
We were just saying pre-show that there's so much happening with the news.
Oh, I know. It moves so fast.
Yeah,
it did. This was one heck of a week for work to call me away. Summon me away, and all this stuff was going on, and I'm like, I don't even have like 5 minutes to try to watch or read any of this at all.
Yeah, I feel like as we get closer and closer through, like towards the actual alpha launch, like things are just gonna start speeding through.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm,
That's why I'm doing my best not to plan too much in October. Like our guild, I don't know about your guys' guild, but our guild was like, what do you guys want to play leading up to alpha? I'm like, you have no idea. It's gonna,
I get that.
I'm gonna close my eyes, it'll be here.
I get that a lot right now because everyone's like, what game should we set up to play? Or what do you do? I'm like, dude, I am so like into Ashes stuff right now. I'm like, I barely have time for anything else right now.
Yeah. Nuke, thank you.
What's up, Nuke?
Cheers.
I see Z. I have now switched from, I guess, Monster to tequila. So I do have to have water since, though. I have had some water.
Yeah, as long as it's only
Yeah.
some water, you don't want to dilute everything too much there.
No.
Didn't I just give
heavy
you
in my blood.
a margarita though? Where'd that go?
Yeah, it's right here. It's right here. I'm drinking it. The tequila.
Oh my god.
Fantastic,
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh. Yeah, Vertec and I have similar stuff. I have a bad setup for my desk, so I have it closer probably than everybody else does. So I'm like, I'm in here.
Had to squeeze everyone in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very cozy. It's very cozy.
I could probably fit closer to like the side, but you know.
Well,
So today we're gonna talk about the probably not as much about the AMA portion, because I don't know about y'all. Jamie, Annie, feel free to chime in. I felt like the roadmap super overshadowed the AMA portion.
So I'm a bad streamer.
Yeah.
And I talked over the whole thing the whole time, and I think I've yet to actually go back and look at the questions. But the
That's
roadmap
fair.
to me was massive. So I was like, dude, there's so much. Like, I couldn't contain myself. I had to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I was
know.
listening to the end of it while I was driving home from work, which I have about a 30-minute drive. And I was listening to Jamie's stream, and yeah, he was talking over every single question. The only thing that stuck out to me was it's going to be M for mature, and I was like, hell yeah.
Oh,
right,
dude,
there
I
we
like
go.
yelled. I got so fucking hyped. Oh my god.
Yeah, and as Drunk Ninja said, the questions were a little redundant. I mean, to be fair, I was one of the many that chimed up about the content creator, or not the content creator, the character creator, different CC. I was the one that chimed up about the character creator, so I like that ended up being a question later on in the stream as well. But real quick, before we get into all of that and the news updates that just came out.
So I just want to comment real quick because I
Yeah.
guess Drunken Ninja was trying to get through my 4-hour reactive Asmon's 40-minute video. And he's like, how dare you go live right now?
Sorry, to be fair, for those of you watching us live, we're usually live last night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But Vertec's flight was super delayed. He didn't get home until 7:30 last night. And obviously you guys couldn't delay, you had your stream. So we just moved it to today, which I'm kind of glad. We have a lot of updates to go through since Friday, since last night. But before we get there, we're going to kind of do, I think, like a rapid fire Q&A for you guys so we can get into the hot topics.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Sounds
cool.
good.
So first off, what kind of content do you guys make? Like, what would you define yourself? Like, for example, we focus more on community news and update topics. What are you guys kind of focusing on for your different content?
Oh, Jamie definitely does the clickbait. I was kidding.
Sometimes it's clicky, but no, I think we do a very it originally kind of started off as like a podcast, but I think it's kind of more turned into like this talk show / community, just kind of chill hangout kind of thing. Like there used to be kind of structure, but we've kind of thrown the structure completely out the window. So it's kind of just like these random firesides chats that are full of different tangents. What that's going to look like moving forward, I have some like rough idea, but basically I just like talking. I like talking and just streaming and hanging out. I've started doing like reacts because people have been, dude, I literally woke up at 7 o'clock with like 20 different pings of like, did you see the Asmund video? Did you see the Asmund video? What do you think? What do you think? And I was like, whatever, I choose violence today. I literally just threw my a shirt on. I think I threw pants on. I don't remember. And then I started the stream up. I was awake for like 20 minutes by the time the stream had actually hit.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
Love it. Love it.
So we had you guys on roughly a year ago when you guys first started. So y'all that are watching, if you want to
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh my god.
Oh my
so
god,
fast.
it's been that long.
It's been a while, yeah.
Right? I'm like, it feels like it's been a year, maybe.
It
if
took me a
that.
second. I was like, wait, it was much
Oh
longer
my god,
than that. Yeah.
it's gone by like so fast though.
It really has. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it feels like, I don't know. It feels like Alpha 1 sometimes was like last year or maybe a year and a half ago, but it's really like 3 years ago.
Dude, I feel that like someone will bring up something like say like the weather showcase, and I was like, yeah, that was like what, a couple months ago, and they're like, that was like 2 years ago. I was like, what are you talking about?
It's been a bit, yeah.
Oh my god.
I've had to go back and look through the history and logs of just different shows that we've had and just be surprised on so many occasions when someone says this was like so long ago. No, it wasn't. No way. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, like, oh wait, that was in 2018. No, seriously, no. But yeah, so 2 years ago, you guys can go check out our initial interview with them. But with the light of the news, some speed rounds. One, with the new roadmap, which we will get into later, which wave is going to be your most anticipated to get into?
Hey, I'll let you grab this one first. Which one are you excited about?
Which phase?
Which phase is your most excited?
Okay, so I'm most excited for the animal husbandry, and that's coming in phase 2. However, everything else I'm looking forward to is in phase 3. But
Dude,
I have to agree. Outside of Vertex, the rest of us are screwed until phase 3 for
right.
I literally was yelling at Steven yesterday in chat because I was like, dude, you literally put everything that I want in the game in phase 3. My weapons are in there. My races are in there. I was like,
it sounds like a you problem, bruh.
Yeah, it's like, sounds like a you problem, bro. And I was like, God damn it.
Oh my gosh. How about you, Jamie?
Yeah, the Pyre is phase 3. Darn it.
I'm looking forward to phase 3 because we got Renkai in there, Tolnar in there, one hand axes, like everything I want and have been waiting for is all the way at the end of Alpha 2. And it, like they said too, like those are supposed to be like by the end, all those things are be in there. So who knows when I'm actually going to be able to touch the things that I plan on using.
Right. Well, I mean, on the bright side, we all get to, because Annie, you want to be a ranger, and then Jamie, you want to be a tank of some sort, whether that's a tank or a fighter tank, something. So at least we get those.
And at least my classes are in there, yeah.
We have our friends that are like summoner and rogues being all like,
we don't even get the pets until phase 3 too.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it.
See, I will fine.
I could wait.
It's my Vanguard stuff.
It's my birthday month that it's coming out, right, in May. So
yeah,
it's fine. I can wait till my birthday. Yeah, right.
So since all three at Vertec, I'm leaving you out of this because you have your ideal race. Since all three of our races are not coming out until phase 3, what race will you play until you can play your ideal race? I know we're starting off with Beck or Kalar, but then I think they're trying to add in Empyrean.
I think I'm gonna do the Empyrean for a bit. And then I can't remember which 2 are coming out. Is it Nakua or no?
No, it's Vec and
no on phase 2. Phase 2, yeah.
I think it was Dunir
In the
and maybe
Valoon?
the Valoon. I'm checking
Valoon
right
Junior.
now.
Yeah, it's
Because I
Valoon and
might
Junior are
test
phase
out
two.
Valoon in
Ooh,
phase 2.
hold up.
Oh,
News update from the news thing I looked. They've updated phase 2 to include Dunir and Pyre.
Oh,
Oh, what the?
what?
hell yeah!
What?
I'm into it.
All right, I gotta
baby.
go over this whole thing. Steven, I swear to God, I feel like you did that on purpose.
These updates are coming live now. Jamie's just the one left out.
I'm gonna have some words. I'm having some words with that man. What?
There's still like a little bit of a typo because it says for phase 2 there's races Dunir and Pyre, but then phase 3 is Pyre, Renkai, Nikwa, and Tolnar. So maybe it's one of those like phase 2.
Maybe they're gonna
phase
have-
It's a
three.
phase change, like right in the center.
Maybe it will be
We're
like the
phasing.
male or the female is phase 2, and then they do the rest or the other one on phase 3.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're splitting up the genders in there.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to relook over this whole goddamn thing. I didn't
Oh
realize
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. There's
too.
a lot to
Oh man.
unpack. Where's the link for updated info? I have it right
That's
here.
like the 4 hours you were talking earlier, Jamie, was all now.
Hey, Shipples.
still
Yeah,
nothing.
it is out. You,
glad it has
you
been
are
as
actually
Golden Knight could get-
inaccurate, sir.
I'm glad Asmongold and I can just be emotional over nothing. Perfect.
So, which part of phase 1 are we most excited to test?
Let me see. Well, now you have to actually look what's.
I'm
the
trying to
info.
remember because I
Actually,
was
look at this.
I was at
Pull
work
this up.
/ driving when I watched it, so I didn't see in depth what was in each phase.
I thought the 16 unique public events is kind of interesting because I know we've
Yeah.
seen one
Oh,
of
the
them.
treasure maps, right?
Yeah, I was
Ooh, I
excited
like
for
The
that
treasure
too.
hunting. That sounded interesting.
Yeah.
Even ripped that off of Red Dead Online. I swear to God, I hope you listened.
I love stuff like that. I think that's
That
really
stuff is
fun.
so fun.
Nice. Yeah, excited for the treasure. Professions, phase 1. Yeah, that's the next question I have.
You know what I'm actually excited for is spending 5 hours behind the queue waiting to get in.
Fighting that queue
That's what
boss.
we're really there for. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to smashing my face
To
into
get
my
an
keyboard for
achievement.
getting
Oh my
logged off
gosh.
multiple times.
So,
You guys
Yeah,
ready
it's
to
gonna
make,
happen early
This,
and
you guys ready to
frequently.
make the same tune like every weekend?
right. we'll learn that boss real quick.
Yes.
Faisal. Well, come on in,
Hazel,
friend.
More like bagel.
Yo, Faisal, what's
Bagel,
up,
haven't
dude?
seen you in forever.
Yeah.
The murder bunny
you get the
himself,
best
holy
one
shit.
day off of work, right?
Miss you, friend.
Tag. 20 months. Oh my gosh. Cheers.
Holy
Yay.
mackerel! Thank you.
Mm.
Bro, Faisal,
Appreciate you.
Daedalus is going to be on tangents tonight. You should hit us up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll have you guys also like put that out there too, because I know you guys are doing a roundtable later tonight, which is why we're doing it at 4 to give you time for later. It's chaotic day for you guys.
It is. It's always chaos.
But they also added
This is why
lawless
Jamie's
zone.
always tired.
It's almost like it's in your name. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they added lawless zones, which we'll get into for a moment for phase 1. But in lieu of that, which 4 professions do you intend to get to journeyman during the first testing phase?
Did they say hunting was going to be in the first one?
It just says level 25 for artisanship professions, so I'm gonna guess that's all of them. It goes novice, apprentice, and journeyman.
I've only got as far as like mining and some type of either weapon or armor smithing. So probably go down that route.
Gotcha. Fair.
If taming is available, I'll do that. I think there was some clarification on hunting. I just can't remember if it was phase 1 or phase 2 that was in the Discord. And then I like gathering in general, so I'll test out. I don't know. I want to test out all the professions, especially fishing. I think that one will be fun too.
Yeah. I agree. I'm excited. Vertec, do you know which 4 you would dabble with for the journeyman?
That's gonna be real tough. I know what I'm gonna be trying to push upwards as quickly as possible is gonna be anything dealing with processing for freeholds, because we're gonna be pushing as hard as we can to keep a freehold the entire time. So may as well take advantage of the better processing stuff there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
True.
I am so taught. Like, I need to really experience this stuff because I tend to, when I do crafting stuff, it's always like, it depends on the game. If the game doesn't make it important, I just kind of toss it to the wayside. So we'll see how Ashes plays out. I'm completely open.
I kind of be kind of one of those players too, where I'm kind of like, it's kind of just a secondary one. Whatever. I always like pay attention most to my like adventuring class.
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I already know like I want a grandmaster alchemy and herbalism, but I will definitely dabble into cooking, and I can't figure out what the fourth one is, but I figured I would try a couple and see which one I liked out of the ones that I try, and then make that one the fourth one. So, yep. All right. So here's the banker question, just to get us transitioned nicely into the rest of the stream. How did you feel about the AMA?
I'm gonna be real honest.
I thought it was pretty great. Yeah.
I loved it. I love the roadmap. Especially like, dude, I was sitting there, I was hyped. We were vibing and everything, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, every other chat is like dooming," and I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Dude, this is great." There were so much things in phase one that, like, more in phase one than I thought there would be. Like going through the phases and looking at, I'm like, "This is awesome." I love the structure. It reminded me kind of like Alpha 1, where we had like kind of a lead up where it's like, "Hey, we're doing this test and this test and this test, and then we'll get to the full one." So I'm like, I was like, why is everyone freaking out right now? Because I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like, I thought this was great.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Same. Same, bro. Same. I was honestly, it was a lot more information than I was expecting we were going to get. So yeah, I'm on that same train that I was like, oh, cool. Like there was actually a lot to unpack here, and information that was really valuable.
As a content creator, it's been awesome because it's like I finally have things to talk about.
Finally have stuff.
So much to talk about. My life ended during the AMA.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, I don't have any time for anything except for Ashes now.
I feel like that's a great problem to have.
Right. Vertec, what did you think about the AMA?
The AMA specifically,
you're fresh off of watching it, so.
Yeah, I think the AMA specifically, it had some interesting information. I actually really liked how he explained the his view on crunch and the company's view on crunch.
Oh, same.
But, I believe just in general, like the AMA was kind of overshadowed by the roadmap and all that information, just the pure impact of all of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
The roadmap was definitely the star of the day, and all that info connected to it. But it was nice getting a couple of those questions were kind of brand new, at least to some degree. So it was nice getting a little bit more insight.
I had I dual streamed that to YouTube, so the VODs are there, and I had one comment where it was like, host ends up talking over most of AMA, and I was like, you realize you can probably go watch this somewhere else, right? You don't have to watch my stream.
Look, I was just giving commentary, okay?
Right. I'm doing the streamer thing.
Like, I think actually, you know what, Oreo Frostline there has it just about right. The AMA felt like a cool down period after the roadmap.
It really did.
Yeah.
That's actually what I was gonna say. Overall, as like a stream, I feel like the roadmap was decent information. I felt like it was a little bit rushed. I don't know. It gave me that that vibe that they were like rushing to get the info out there. But then
they did have like the half-hour delay because Steven's computer broke, so he was like really
that too.
at the office. So I think it was probably a little bit like kind of we kind of gonna have to condense this and we have to get through.
Yeah, I also mean just in terms of like the typos in the in the materials that are shared, and I get that, like, you know, they're probably in crunch time as Steven mentions quite a lot, but it's just one of those. It felt, as communications go, a little rushed, a little rough,
little hodgepodge.
A little hodgepodge. But
as someone with dyslexia, I was able to read through I didn't even notice any spelling mistakes.
To be fair,
we were like normal life.
we were in our like Discord, and we were making jokes about Maggie like giving the "I will send you to Jesus" look to Steven, for like Steven being like, "Oh, I'm not going to read the whole thing," and then like proceeds to basically read the whole thing.
And then he does. Yeah.
She's like,
yeah, I feel like maybe I feel like their intent maybe was to have more of the AMA, but I feel like a lot of it did get pushed kind of more towards the roadmap. But I feel like the roadmap probably had. Honestly, I almost feel like they could have broken that into 2 streams, which would have been do the roadmap, talk heavily into that, and then maybe do like a separate AMA somewhere else to be like, okay, what are your questions about the roadmap and how can we kind of give you guys that information, because like
That's true. Yeah, like a two-part, because then there wouldn't be for any of the misinformations. Now it would just be clarified when they do the second AMA part.
Yeah.
And then like too, like how much of the roadmap kind of like invalidated. I didn't really listen to too much of the I apologize to people put their questions in because I didn't really listen. But how much of this could have like really been taking up that time to be like, oh shit, yeah, this would have been really good information to know. How's this work? How's that work? Why is this in this phase? Those kind of things.
It definitely did feel like it was worthy of two separate streams, a roadmap stream and then an AMA stream, because I do feel like the roadmap part definitely overshadowed the questions for the AMA. And also, just a real quick thank you to who was it? Alluring. I refreshed and back on track. Valoon and Dunir are the only two races for phase 2. I think that was a typo, and I
sad
to catch it. I know.
Speaking of typos,
they're always listening. They're always watching. They know.
Yeah.
they're like, fix it.
Honestly,
Fix it
I would
now.
I'd probably put up most of the mistakes probably because of them being crunch. It's just like, we want to communicate, we want to get this out, we're trying to get it out as fast as we can. But because I would say too, like if they are in a state of crunch, like this is awesome for the community, but terrible for them. Where it's like, we now have to pull people off to make these graphics. We need to communicate with Steven. Hey, how's this working? We got to put the team together to get this together. We need to get the information out. So like, it's probably like, yeah, okay, quick, get this out. And it's like, oh, we made a mistake.
Yeah. And that was my only critique, really, is that before we get into the rest of like the key updates and stuff, my only critique really was that I do feel like the communications and the media shown could have been probably a little bit more polished, and maybe the YouTube video that they just put out is a bit more polished. I've yet to see it. It was actually, I was telling Vertec that the YouTube video is live as we were about ready to go live ourselves. So it's very possible that the YouTube video itself is much more updated with like how they're explaining everything. But as a web developer who does front end facing things, I send out an email every Monday. I have a small group of people who look over everything before I send it, and then a larger group of people who triple check everything before we send it. And I feel like if they weren't in such a rush to get this out, that there would be a lot less like confusion pieces, to the point that Vertec and we were patiently conversing with somebody in our chat this morning because they thought that there was a gap in timestamps from October to May. And so I actually ended up going through and making a timeline, which I'm going to be updating to include the key holder access. But I ended up making a timeline just to show, like, actually, no, we're doing weekend testings continuously until this period, and then we're doing 5-day plus testings until this period. And then
I think they did clarify that during the stream, because they did explain that October 25th until December 20th will be weekend testing. From December 20th until May 1st, that's when they start the 5-day testing. Especially, they want to get into a position where, when it is like, because people are like, oh well, that's Christmas season, it's like, yeah, we want to be in a position once the game goes live, we won't be taking, you'll have to have people on staff for dealing with holidays and stuff. So they're even preparing for that, getting that position. I think some of that really was in there, because I remember I was slightly confused, and then I remember watching later on, I was like, oh, okay, they did clarify. Yeah.
But I think that's also where, like, us, we come in and we're here to help try to like clarify things and, understand what the community is like feeling and thinking on these things, and being like, well, actually, I get where you're coming from, but this is how it's intending to work, or like just, breaking things down, like these conversations. So without further ado, let's talk about the biggest update, which is that not only are they no longer just keys, they are now bundles. So we have a first wave bundle, a second wave bundle, and a third wave bundle. And all of them include alpha access, beta 1 and beta 2 access, plus $15 value for a 1 month subscription time. And for some of them, like the more expensive one, the first wave has the $15 in embers. So it's the in-game marketplace kind of credit. And they still
all have the 15 embers.
Do they? Okay,
Yeah,
I see it
everyone
now.
has yeah, they both come with the $15 so the 1 month sub and then the 15 and number.
Yeah. And now, I mean, you still, for wave 1, you're still getting access on November 8th, but the following 2 waves do get access when those waves start. So I think it's just that first wave that has a slightly delayed start time from everybody else that has keys. And Sauce, I see what you're saying. Sauce says it's not very fair towards their old customers.
I got
Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
okay, so as someone who I literally bought my daughter the last pack on the last day, like it was available. I spent $375 to get her pack. I bought Annie's $500 pack, and I bought my $500 pack, and I probably bought a couple things before that. I do not care about this pricing at all, because I have people who have joined my community in the last 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. How do I get in? And I'm like, I was like, you gotta wait. Maybe they'll have keys. Maybe we can gift them. This is amazing. I don't want to gatekeep. I think they're priced at a point where it already gatekeeps enough, where people are going to consider like, oh, is this priced at a point where I want to get in? Where I feel like this is fair. They're only getting keys. They're not getting cosmetics. They're not getting the as much subscription time as we had. And
right, it's like a month.
I don't.
So $30 worth of embers in subscription. That's not much.
Now you could kind of feel cheated, I guess, but like for me personally, who literally someone who did buy in January a pack for my kid, who I know probably will only play for like a week or two and then maybe jump on here and there. Like I could have waited $100 and done it. I'm not feeling that.
Right.
So I don't know. I've got a different opinion on that. I'm completely fine with its pricing.
I think ultimately too, you're buying the support. It's more like a donation that you're just getting something back from to help fund the game. It's not like you're actually purchasing these things for their market value.
Yeah, I agree with that. What are your thoughts before
I was gonna say also on the content side of things, on what they're getting for the key, it's only in the evergreen stuff that they're getting. Like the stuff that's gonna be like the same from this point going forward. It's none of like the exclusive or do it now or miss out cosmetics and anything crazy like that. It's not bringing back anything that used to be an exclusive. It's literally just you can play alpha, you can play beta, and then you have a month of game time when it starts. And you know, you can get a cosmetic in the shop.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's bad at all.
That, and to kind of touch on what Surgeon General says, like, I mean, you asked, how do you feel about special titles for each package? I'm just saying the fact that there's not one, but there was one for the last bundles that we had previously. I feel like that's also really good. I was telling somebody, I don't know if I'm the right person to chime in on this, because Vertec and we are both PI. We backed way long ago on Kickstarter and spent way more than 120, 350 on like this stuff. So for me, I'm not phased, just like Jamie. It doesn't bother me. I mean, if people like Aura Frostline can come in and be able to be a part of our community because you've joined since January and you've put so much time and effort into learning about Ashes and wanting to be a part of it, I really think that you should be able to have a chance at it. And they always said that they may open up keys later. So for me, not bothered, not one bit.
One thing I think is kind of crazy, because this type of like, I feel upset because I paid more than them and it's not fair.
Yeah.
The same thing was said when we paid the $500 to start Alpha 1. There were PI that were upset that we were able to buy in. There were other backers that were upset. If we had kept to that same mentality, right, that it's like, oh, we shouldn't let them be able to buy it. It's cheaper. It's whatever. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get in. So I was this person who was banging on the door saying, hey, please let me in. And yeah, some of the things were a little bit different. Like there wasn't an option to get a lifetime subscription. There wasn't certain options. Some of the packs were slightly different. So it was like, I don't want to be that person that's saying this isn't fair. You guys are getting, you're just getting access for way cheaper and stuff. And it's like, you support at a time when what the package was. And so it was, you were getting extra things. I just completely look at this as a completely different way.
Yeah.
It's just, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, again, as Demetrius has pointed out, at the end of the day, you can look at it as, sure, we are paying to test a game, but I'm still looking at it in a way of it being a Kickstarter of sorts. You know, this may
Right.
not be the official Kickstarter, but you're still helping to fund a game that is in development versus like something strictly like paying $120 to beta test. Like that, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
'Cause
dude.
At
Oh
that
my
point,
God.
you're almost out. So like, why am I paying that much?
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised if by the time beta comes around, there are probably, you know, $40 to $70 packs to get into beta testing. And like, I'm not going to get upset about that either, where it's like they need the people to get into it. I feel like those are reasonably priced. Because here's the thing too, guys, like people are already arguing, like already upset at this price point. So if this was even higher, they're going to get even more backlash from people. They're already freaking out saying $100 for an alpha is way too much. So it's like, you're potentially putting Ashes now in this like crosshair. If you were to put these at what? So it's before you had the cosmetics at $275, you drop the cosmetics now. This is $100. I feel like this is actually a really good like value. And it's like, what should it be? 200 because you're upset. It's just I just don't have that same mentality.
Yeah, I agree. And Penumbral says, Jamie and Annie were wonderful enough to give away keys. I won one for my wife, but we'll take this opportunity to return that key for them to give away to someone else. I'll be purchasing a few alpha keys to support Intrepid, one for my wife to get alpha to beta access. Thank you. Great work. And
yay, thanks, Pen. I appreciate that. We are actually just talking about wanting to do another key giveaway, but it's just so tricky when you have to pretty much in good faith give people the money to buy them.
Actually, just got an anonymous donor. Someone tipped me some money to actually be able to do a giveaway to give out a key. So you guys are awesome. I love the Ashes community. You guys are amazing.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you.
We couldn't really afford to give people money for keys the way you guys were so awesome and able to do. But I did every year for my birthday is when they do their charity stream on November 4th. So
awesome.
I stay up the entire time getting as many keys as I possibly can and then giving them away in our community Discord to people who aren't able to maybe like watch. I'll like ping at everybody like, I got another key, first to answer, like let me give this to you. But it was just really fun because then like you're learning lore, you're watching Z burn down people's Minecraft buildings with lava.
Z is brutal. Oh my god. It was actually really cool because we did extra life with them, and we ended up being one of the randoms that were picked to give away 11 keys because I already had one, so they gave us one extra. And that was like the most fun time I've ever had streaming, was like just doing key giveaways. We got so hyped, and I was like, I think one of them we accidentally messed up the poll, so I literally just gave out an extra key because it's like, sorry that got messed up. Here you go. I was like, dude, it was so much fun. It's like I'm actually that type of person. So like anytime I get into some type of hobby, like I not only get it for myself, but I force Annie to get into it too. So I'll buy whatever extra for her. Like, this is yours now. So like to be able to do that is like the most fun thing where I'm like,
hobby hostage.
You get to join me. You get to join me. I was like, I feel like Oprah just handing out, but I'm like, handing out keys.
This is what we're doing now.
It feels like that one meme where the girl's like, do you want food? And they're like, you're hungry, aren't you? They're like, yeah. If I'm getting food, you're getting food too.
I'm fine with this.
If it's my hobby, it's now your hobby too.
Yeah. So
That's how Jamie is. Yep.
That's awesome.
No, Ember, I haven't had time to shave this off this week, beard.
Yeah. It's been a little crazy. Let's do the AAA formula again. Sounds great. Demetrius is like, the alternative is bringing a bunch of blood-sucking profit mongers to fund this game, aka Intrepid. For those of you that don't know, in case you're watching our stuff for the first time, Intrepid is not like, they don't have producers or people to answer to. They are their own bosses.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that actually gets lost in people. I've broken down like the math and stuff like multiple times for people to kind of like understand. At 200 devs, they are now spending about $25 million a year on this project. And then if you were to look at 100,000 concurrent users, obviously during Alpha 2, it won't be 100,000. It could hit 100,000 concurrent. You don't know. But if you were to have every single person connected at the same time at about 63 cents a person, for the entire month, you're looking at $756,000 on just server cost alone for that year. So like, and Steven had brought up too during the stream that he's fronted 60 million and they have got 30 million in support. So like Steven has already put up 2/3 of this whole project.
Yeah.
And the Kickstarter,
Crazy.
for people, a lot of people are like, it's already paid for because the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter counts for 3% of the actual money that was used to make the game.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Cetrix,
that's
by the way.
great.
Much appreciated.
Thanks. Thank you. Long time no see, friend.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
I feel
Steven's
like this
put forth a lot
Alpha
of money
2
on this.
Yeah, he has.
Dude.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I feel like this Alpha 2 info has like pulled a lot of people out of like just kind of hiding and hibernation, waiting for more Alpha 2 info.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like so many
like
people are gonna be so hyped.
oh, so excited! Oh my gosh, Lloyd, thank you.
Lloyd, thank you so much.
Cheers! Welcome
Appreciate
in,
you,
Baba
friend.
Yaga, Gibbs Destroyer, Sale. I don't know how to say your Saleh, Judico, and Nexus Guild. Our guild got a gift sub.
Our guild got a sub. Yay.
Yay.
I love it.
But I'm excited. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Like I'm excited for phase 1 to begin in October, although it's October 25th. So like we were intending on trying to do another like commercial giveaway, but I think that the 25th starting time is a little like too close to Halloween for there to be any good one. So I'm thinking of doing just like a Nightmare Before Christmas where you have until around Christmas time to give us like either a spooky one or like a thankful one, or like just a cutesy, like just the holiday cheer kind of vibe.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So I know Lulu says my glorious Halloween ad is doomed.
Ashen
thank you,
Herald.
Ashen Herald, for giving it to Aurora
you.
Firstlight.
That's super nice. Check that out.
Cheers. I didn't even know we had a Guild Touch channel. We do. She doesn't use it too often, but we do. We used it once, I think, to celebrate Nexus's birthday.
Yep, now she just cruises around and checks out channels on it.
Yeah, Drunk Ninja, we are. We are cosplaying our characters, so yeah, I like doing it. But yeah, what do you guys think about them starting off with the Friday through Sunday test and then going into 5+ days, and then in May, like you said, your birthday month, going
Yes.
into 24/7? What are your thoughts? Do you like that? Do you feel like it's too fast of a timeline? Do you think it's a reasonable timeline?
Okay, sorry. First part of the question again. I was looking at chat when you first started talking,
Okay.
and then I was like, oh.
I was just wondering what your thoughts were on the timeline itself. Do you think it's too fast of a timeline? Do you think it's a reasonable timeline?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a little quicker than I was expecting, so I think it's a good timeline, especially how fast they're going to be rolling out these various different systems with
Yeah.
only a few months apart. So, yeah, and I mean, at the start of phase 3, it's not like we're going to immediately have all of those things ready. It's just in the how long it takes for phase 3 to start to finish is when you get them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's reasonable. I was actually surprised how fast they're going to have all that stuff out.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
curious. Like, I actually think so I was bringing this up before yesterday. That I think the 3-day test is a really smart way to do that, because it gives them so much time to collect data. Because I think people need to understand too is that phase 1 is literally just propping systems. We're getting systems up. We're testing systems. It's probably the least amount that will be closest to gameplay. Like that's the one that you're probably going to get in there and you're going to be stuck in a server queue because they're testing a server queue system, or you're going to get in there and they're testing server stability. So they're like, everyone, we want you to try this thing or do this. And those are most likely the way these things are going to go. And you are probably going to get to a point where, it's going to crash. It's going to break. It's going to, servers are going to be on fire. They're going to need to take those down for like a week to be able to look at things and say, hey, what do we need to fix? What's the data we need to sift through? I don't know if you guys remember, there's a video of Jeffrey Bard talking about where they were running some tests and they said they had like terabytes of data, so much data. And so they're going to be collecting a ton of that. So it makes sense that they need some time to pull those down, adjust what they need to adjust, and throw it back up where it's okay. We are now collecting data for a longer testing period. And then as you move through that, to say, okay, things are stable. We've scaled. We know how many realms we need to pull up. We know how many testers are left. We're going to start introducing more stuff. To me, it just makes sense of the way to do it. I know a lot of people were thinking that would just be that 24/7 right off the bat. And I think to me, that just seems unrealistic, because like my perception was persistent meant it will persist all the way from alpha 2 until launch. I never really thought of like how they were going to roll out the actual alpha and like how the testing phases were going to look, because like we didn't really get that information until alpha 1 when how we learned alpha 1 would roll out. So like I'm not one of those people that tends to like, I like to just look at what do I know, what's kind of coming up. I don't like to look like 6 months ahead and kind of like dream and stuff of like, oh, what could this could be, because like I feel like you set yourself up for like disappointment because you just start hyping yourself up about like your imagination of what things could be. So I kind of just wait to be given that information. What does it look like? And I'm going to give my feedback then.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Trying to finish typing this out. But like, yeah, no, I agree. Those takes make sense on the timeline that we are talking about, with the phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3. And I keep getting phase and waves confused. Waves are the keys, phases are the phases. You're a wave of keys to get access to your phases. But yeah, I honestly, it makes sense. And I mean, looking at the overall timeline, I mean, they need time to we're having a champion of the hill. They need time to honestly go through and make those things, because again, the first focus is on scalability, stability, performance, and progression. And they talked about you know, the new type of server that they're holding, and so they're gonna need time to bring people in and then shut down the service to fix things, and bring people in and shut down the service to fix things. Like, this is an intense thing. I don't know, I can't speak to this because I don't know anything about servers very well. But like,
unfortunately, that does seem to be a lot of people who talk on it like don't really fully understand. Like you'll try to see something, like try to be like an expert about something and talk about it, where it's like you failed, like a lot of people just fail to grasp or understand like what actually is taking place behind the scenes. It's like I did that React today, and there's some stuff in there where I was like, this is just so wrong based off of how game dev actually.
Yeah. And I mean, I know servers from a developer, like a website developer standpoint, but I don't really know servers in terms of like, here's how UE does it, and we kind of built our own thing off of UE. And I'm just like, that sounds intense. Okay, good job. Like, I couldn't do that, but
hey, I won. Sorry.
Yay. Oh, that's why Lloyd's
using a frying pan.
I'm always saying those are dangerous. You've seen Tangled. They're dangerous.
Yes. That's so funny.
But I think also like going into the 5+ days where we're looking at node advancement and econ testing and vassling, and those are like big things that they need time on, but it would make sense that they'd have like a longer time spent on those, because they did break down previously, like you mentioned, Jamie, there's all this data that their systems are getting from us just playing the world, which is how it feeds into leveling these nodes and choosing which things end up vassling under other things. And there's just, what do you do with all that data? How do you make sure there's not like a
comb through?
Yeah. Like, how do you make sure there's not like a memory issue with all of the data being like streamed in, basically?
Right. And then like what systems too do you have in place? Because I was talking about something basically some type of cloud data too, where they can kind of have filters to base off of, because someone was I remember what the complaint was. It was about getting inundated with feedback, and how could they even sort for that, you know, based off whatever. But it's like, I mean, you system, like I think that too is like they are creating so many different backend systems and things that we probably like. They showed us so much with their server meshing, especially the microservices, like with the rep graph, and how that's planned to basically be like this anti RMT, so they can track from like, you know, like from say like harvesting a node, like a resource node, and then that transferring all the way into like a weapon, and being able to actually like track and follow like which hands that goes to, and like basically just understand and have this all-seeing eye what's happening, where you could essentially see too, like say like some gold seller that's dropping off 100,000 gold, all of a sudden instantly flagging that account because it's like, this wealth shouldn't be here. So it's like they have so many different back-end heavy systems that I think too, like even the way that they broke up the phases, I think is just such a smart idea to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Vertek, what are your thoughts on all of this for the timeline? Does it make sense to you? Your thing is red. You're on mute.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, timeline makes sense to me. Yeah, sorry, I was typing up a storm on some stuff going on there, but yeah, timeline makes sense to me. I wasn't necessarily confused by it, but I think the way things were worded on some of the slides and put out there could have been better for general consumption. But just looking at it and seeing how things have gone in the past, like some of the testing phases, it all kind of clicked with me, and I saw what they were aiming for. So I could have it.
You bring it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I could have had a totally biased like initial view. Like I kind of had an idea that that's how they were gonna do things, is roll it out in phases. But go ahead there, Jimmy. Sorry.
You bring up a good idea about the general perspective, because I feel like they really try, like as Steven's mentioned before, they try to. This is for people who have their first look, but I think maybe there is maybe some confirmation bias there, that like thinking that the people that are there for the first look, but I think it's really the people who tend to get the information like and understand the best are actually mainly like the 5,000 Ashes fans that come and go there, because I feel like that's who that is. It's almost like the way I've kind of seen it is it's like these onlookers watching a shareholder meeting and not following along as the months have been going by, where these people are like, I have no idea what this is, but this sounds bad to me. Whereas like I feel like there's probably a way that they probably could change it where it does have more of a general broader appeal, and I would feel like the way that you would actually handle that is by showing less information. Like, because sometimes it will go into a lot of in-depth, like the shots that we got where we're going through, and all of us know what all these systems are. We're like, that makes sense. Okay, I understand why that's here. I understand why that's here. The general pop who like literally probably only watch like maybe a Lazy Peon video to get this, but also I feel like too, like the people who actually, I've got different takes on this and I'm all over the place, because I feel like if we want to talk general pop, they're only watching Lazy Peon videos every 3-6 months when those actually come out. You've got like that next step down where these people are kind of like side-eyeing it, but I feel like this sometimes has too much information where it's almost like less is more for people like this. And then you have people like us, the 5,000, 10,000 people who are actually actively following and watching this all the time, where it's like we want as much meat as possible. We want to tear into it as much. So it's like I feel like that the streams definitely service us a lot more than I think the people that are just kind of glancing over and then getting massively confused on things.
Yeah, very fair. Make it concrete and well worded. Yeah, exactly. Could we put up the question from Nair? Nair is asking, y'all think we'll get a phase 4 in 2026, like an A2 phase 4, not the betas, but
yeah, let me see.
I'm kind of curious because I'm pretty sure just phase 3 leads into, so I think people are expecting beta to have everything finished. I think that's from my perception from talking to people, they're like, you know, not everything's there in phase 3. Well, because not everything's going to be there in beta. That's my understanding of it. Is like beta is still not fully complete. Like beta is okay. If you think of beta, think of Baldur's Gate 3 where you had Act 1. That was beta. That is a beta game. We're not even there. We're not even close to that spot. So where Baldur's Gate 3 only gave you Act 1 and you had a little bit of things there and they slowly kind of rolled things out over time, that's essentially your beta kind of period. So I feel like by beta 1, that's where everything is there. And I would actually be surprised if we have the entire map by beta 1.
Yeah,
like I'd be honest, I'd be very surprised if they give us everything at beta 1.
Real quick, Arthur A2 phase 4 just for Jamie to play with Tolnar and his axes and swords.
Dude, I would lose my mind.
Jamie, what are your thoughts? Oh, sorry, Annie. My bad. I was reading Jamie in the chat while I was looking.
Oh, sorry. What was the question again?
Do you think Alpha 2 will have a phase 4?
Oh, geez. Hopefully not.
No.
I mean, if they do, they do. But yeah, hopefully not. Just based off of how people are with being like, they lied to us.
Well, here's another interesting thing of that, though, is that Alpha 2 turns into the PTR realm. So that's where you have a lot of people that are going to be still under NDA testing as that stuff is being pushed over to beta. So there's probably that's your phase 4, right? Like a lot of the NDA stuff where it's like, hey, we don't want the general public to see this. You guys are here testing. We're going to start pushing chunks of this over to beta for people to test and patch that out. So it's like, I would say maybe that's a quasi Alpha 4, but it's now the test realm where we're going to start.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Alpha 2 phase 4 takes Alpha back underground.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some people in chat saying if Alpha 2 goes too long, they'll run out of money. Phase 4 probably just extended P3 time. I think honestly, the realistic thing is like it's a 24/7 uptime for Phase 3. So I feel like that is gonna run. Like I think Phase 3 is the last one, and I think it's gonna run until they're ready to go into betas.
Right.
That's what I think.
Steven did say too on that Reddit post where he clarified some of the key stuff was that their intent right now is to be in Alpha 2 for 1 year. Like that is their intent. It could run over, it could be longer, but their intent is to try to get this ready and into betas within that 1 year.
Well, you said 1 year is what he put up on Reddit?
Yeah, I can find the post, but that's their intent. Obviously,
share that. Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to potentially be delays. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, because they kind of like talked about too, being open to about like potentially he talked a lot too about like the asset contracting out and stuff. Like I think I don't know if some people are aware, but that's not a rare thing for studios to do is to contract out artwork, especially when it's like that mindless stuff. So you're like contracting out not mindless stuff, but like animations, or you're contracting out buildings, or contracting out certain things that really aren't so much needing to be in-house art, where it's like, hey, this is our art aesthetic, this is the profile we're going for, this is the things that we would like. And it's not uncommon for games to outsource some of this stuff. So that way they can say, hey, we're going to have you guys work on this so we can work on this stuff in-house. It's kind of similar with even my occupation, where it's like, whatever I can do in-house, I'll do it. Whatever needs to be done ASAP, you source it out.
Yeah. Sorry. Lloyd says we might get the big D in Verteco's donations. Lloyd says delay.
Delay, yeah.
So right here, it's Alpha 2 Phase 3 is expected to last 1 year. So it's starting at Phase 3 is expected to last 1 year. This is, of course, subject to change due to active development, but I will send you guys this Reddit post.
Yeah, please. I think that's the Steven one, right? I was just wondering if you could put it in the chat for us.
Okay, I mean, to be honest, it's still on the aggressive side of things, but that's still kind of in line with what I've been thinking for a while. Is like the minimum 1.5 years to 2 years for Alpha 2 in general. Right.
So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So.
It's on the aggressive side of things, but I still say it's going to be. It's probably not going to be that 1 year of Alpha 2 Phase 3. I think it's going to be a little bit longer.
I think it'll be longer.
At least a year, yeah.
I think we can all say after delays that it probably will be longer.
Yeah, that being said, I'm not a game developer, so, just throwing stuff out there. I don't know anything necessarily.
I also like what Ashton Herald says, which is Alpha 2 Phase 3 is expected to last at least a year. This is, of course, subject to change. And then also previously was asking, because of the Phase 3, talking on Phase 3, wondering why if they'll bring more in Alpha Phase or go right into Beta, because at the end of Alpha 2 Phase 3, it says secondary archetype specialization for cleric and tank specifically. So it sounds like you're only getting 2 secondary specs.
I was actually kind of curious about the way that was worded. Is this augments or is this secondary specs within the class kit? That one I wanted to ask Steven about, because I'm assuming I'm kind of curious if they're now calling augments specs. It does seem like right now, like augments are still this kind of enigma for them themselves, where it's like we have a rough idea what we want to do with it, but we're not sure how we want to implement it.
Yeah. Or Frostline says augments if I had a guess. Ashton Herald says I read it as augments. Because it does say secondary archetype specialization. So maybe, like, I just can't tell. I'm sorry, I just can't tell. Does that mean that for cleric and tank, you can do a secondary specialization, or as any of the classes, you only get cleric or tank as your secondary specialization to choose from? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, my take on all that is going to be that it's going to be they're working on the secondary archetype selections, and the ones that they're going to try to release first are going to be cleric and tank. So you could be a bard cleric or a bard tank. That's my take on it.
Yeah,
it does kind of make sense, because like it seems like tank and cleric were like one of the first. They were like the first archetypes that we really got to see anyway. So it seems like they kind of have that cadence where it's like, hey, we work with these ones, then we work with this one. Which I mean, they've talked about too. Is that like, what is it? The starter alpha one, I think we're capped at 25. So it's like, maybe we won't be surprised if we don't even get augments until like beta testing, until that's like really starting to shape and make form. I think people probably need to, even like expectations when it comes to what's going to be in alpha and what's going to be in beta, like maybe need to step back from what they think it's going to be. Whereas like, I feel like even beta, new systems and new things are going to come online. It's not like, hey guys, because they have beta set up in 2 points where you get beta 2 and beta 1. Beta 2 is probably like, we are still bringing on these, because like, again, going back to my Baldur's Gate 3 comparison, when Baldur's Gate 3 started, you didn't have all the different classes in there yet. You had a couple different ones and it was like, hey, we're releasing this. So I would expect, and I would try to probably use this mindset of like, augments probably aren't till beta. I know they haven't said that, but I would probably start using that as a mind frame, like, framing it as like looking at that.
Yeah,
I personally, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I would not think that much, but maybe closer to beta, because Steven has said before, like the alpha 2 is expected to be feature complete by the end of alpha 2, so that the betas are meant for polishing and balancing and like fine tuning more so than anything. And the alphas are going to be, by the time the alphas are done, it's going to be feature complete. And the reason I was thinking that the cleric and tank are going to be the secondary archetype to augment the other classes is because they're going to start with dipping their toes into the secondaries, right? Making sure they just try a couple things and trying to see how they can augment all the classes with healing and or survivability might be the easiest things to kind of dip your toe in before we're trying to balance, like, let's throw different ways to adjust damage to make it bigger or different or what have you. Let's just make people survive longer or heal others or heal themselves.
And I was going to agree with that. Like,
passes.
Huh? Oh, balance passes. Yeah. And because I was thinking like they had previously said like everything by the end of alpha 2, they should have tested all of the core things. And I do agree with Aura Frostline saying that I think it's tank and cleric as the secondary classes, so that kind of also like who was it? Drunk Ninja says they might have the intent to only do those 2 in alpha 2 and save the rest for launch or beta, because then they're getting like the base of it done. But I'm also, for summoners, I'm sad because instead of summoner coming in like phase 1 or phase 2, summoner doesn't come until phase 3.
Yes.
I feel like that's probably the most complex one though too. Like I don't think I'm super surprised on that.
Well, they're not doing the pets till phase 3 either, so
pets
makes more sense.
Those feel like similar systems,
And also the other thing to keep in mind is the features they said that they're going to be dropping in phase 3. That's within the first couple months of phase 3. So you figure that's going to be if phase 3 starts in May, then by like June, July, August, by like this time next year, maybe we'll be seeing the secondary archetypes be played with the clerik and tank. And then by the end of the physical year next year, we'll get, more secondary archetypes.
Yeah, I wonder if you will start seeing like maybe phase 3 even having a bit of its own roadmap. If that is their intent, I wonder if phase 3 kind of has its own 3.1, 3.2, 3.3.
That's actually a great point, because like there could be a continuation of roadmap things where they're looking at more things like the secondary archetypes and other stuff that maybe aren't even on here yet. Like the turquoise sea, I was curious about that one, honestly.
Same.
So I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm happy that we have a timeline, at least a roadmap, because I think that this is more fleshed out than the Alpha 1 roadmaps were. And for me, I wasn't too surprised by the roadmap starting with like weekend testing, because that's kind of how Alpha 1 started, with just the weekend testing. And then it grew into more and more timelined items. But the only other thing I want to touch on is lawless zones. What do we think of lawless zones? Do we like them? Do we not like them?
So Steven actually clarified this in Discord. This is specifically just to be for Alpha 2 to simulate like the sea. It's supposed to be a PvP zone that way they can kind of collect data that way. But it's only something that will be within Alpha 2, at least from what he said on Discord, and then it's just mainly just to simulate and be there just for a temporary feature.
Okay. I feel better about that then, because I was going to say,
I had the same question.
I was upset about PvE stuff not having much, availability to PvE people, but making some PvE content available by creating more PvP content doesn't feel very good either.
Yeah.
Make them vacate the zone by giving them more selections of content kind of feels bad too.
Yeah. And
yeah, no,
that's
specifically, it's just specifically to simulate kind of having like the open season stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. I'm
fine with that then, yeah, because I don't mind the idea of a lawless zone, but I don't want it to be where the better PvE is. But with that that context in mind, that makes sense, because again, the oceans are intended to be open flagging immediately. As soon as you get into the water area, it will flag you. It'll let you know that you're getting flagged, and that's where I believe there's no corruption out there, but that's also where some of the really intense PvE bosses are in the water, like the Kraken. I keep forgetting the Kraken. I don't think there's actually a Kraken, but I hope there is.
Oh, I bet they put one, dude. With Steven's love of Arcades, there's like no way they don't put a giant sea monster up. Like, there's no way.
Dude, it'd be so cool. Just like freaking behemoth of a monster just rising out of the water, or like just the hinting of one underneath. Like, can you imagine just swimming under the water in the ocean, and then you just see this behemoth of a boss in front of you? It just takes up your entire screen.
Sounds amazing.
This is where like part of my because obviously I don't like RP, but like this is where part of my immersion comes in, because like thinking of the sea being this extremely, because like the ocean is fucking terrifying. So like if you're thinking about like open seas, PvP, pirates, Krakens, I feel like regardless of how you kind of feel about PvP, I feel like that is going to be such a like really intense, awesome experience where you were just terrified on the sea the whole time, because it's like, is this giant Kraken going to kill me? Is another ship going to kill me? Am I going to get bored and like, I think like the immersion side of that, like just getting on the high seas and like having no idea what's going to happen. Like, I love that idea. Like, that's terrifying.
So I wonder if I'm the only one that's kind of wished to get the fastest water mount possible, just so that when I see like certain guilds / people like trying to pirate on the open seas, I can go try to find the Kraken and like leash it all the way out to them. If there's no leash on it, just pull them all the way out and be like, this is where they're fighting. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
See, you can still grief people via PvE.
Yeah. See,
fair.
exactly.
You'll know where to find your animal husbandress to give you that mount.
And that's my tables turning, so PvE can actually negatively impact PvP. Yeah.
See, that's what makes it PvX. That's a good thing about it.
Exactly.
True. What do you guys think? You guys actually brought up a good point. Central time zone servers.
I think that's awesome. We've had a lot.
We're mostly central, so
right.
Yeah, we're pretty close. But we have obviously we have our guild, and we've got members that are asking me like, hey, are we doing East Coast? Are we doing West Coast? And I'm hoping they do continue to have central servers, because like that was kind of like the middle ground, was like, this would be perfect if we had central, so that way like we can have East Coast, West Coast people, and we can all get together.
Yeah.
So I'm really pumped to have central. I think everything that's a really cool move. I know Doc Burns has made tons of things talking about it, because I think that if you look at like the subsection of like the United States and stuff too, population, actually, I think that you have almost more within that central time zone than you do on the sides.
Yeah. I don't know if it's really a problem for East to play on the West. I think it depends on your internet service provider specifically. I used to be on the West playing on the East, because I was up late and all the East Coast people were asleep. So in WoW, I would wait until people were asleep, and then I'd go out and I'd do my like herbalism in peace.
So something actually really interesting about that is WoW's East Coast servers are in California.
Interesting. Okay.
So
weird.
Interesting.
Your server location is not always regional. Sometimes they are in different areas, but yes. And I believe that their West Coast servers are in Sydney.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, okay. I always bounced around between servers and checked my ping a couple times before like settling on a server. When I was trying to pick one that was like local, I'd pick a bunch that were in my time zone or within an hour or two, but then I would check around and just look for the ping, and that one of the best ping, that's what I'm taking. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's a lot more that we could definitely dive into. And I know that you guys have an intention to have your roundtable. Do you guys want to tell them about your roundtable you're hosting tonight?
Yeah.
So Annie and I, we were kind of going over this stuff yesterday, but obviously we run tangents, so we were extremely tangented. So I thought, you know what would be really fun would be I'm going to get together with Daedalus, Ludloid, and Nuclear Tango, and we're kind of going to go over this, and we're going to just have a roundtable discussing
That
like
sounds so
the
fun.
roadmap. So that'll be over
Awesome.
on my channel today at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
And this is the
Gonna be fun.
roadmap for this obviously fully fleshed out and ready to launch game.
Oh, yeah, dude,
without
it's
any
so ready.
testing involved.
It's August 21st. You can buy keys, play instantly. You'll get a year's worth of sub time. It's going to be great.
That's awesome.
As a disclaimer, all of that information that blasted out in the past minute is absolutely false.
It's
just say
awesome.
it.
It's awesome.
Flip it and ship it.
Yeah, exactly. It's ready to ship. Get in there. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Alright.
gosh. But
6 DLC included, says the tricks.
Good one.
But please go check out our guests and make sure you give them a like, a follow. Check out like all their content so you can see when they go live later. Definitely gonna have to be tuning into that roundtable. That's gonna be super cool to listen into. And thank you guys for not only coming on again and chatting with us, but being very flexible with us given Vertex untimely airport problems.
Oh, yeah,
my
absolutely.
gosh. American
We've been
Airlines
there.
appreciates your flexibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Tell you what.
Vertex, anything else you wanna?
First off, I think we just let them plug the show, but was there anything else you two wanted to share on our way out before I close up?
I know Annie's been streaming The Sims on Tuesday. She's probably going to forget to plug that herself. So you guys head over to at was it Annie_Lace? Annie's been streaming The Sims, and I think you were going to do the freeholds and stuff.
Yes, actually. Yeah, I think there was a lot of people who wanted to see me build a freehold in the sim. So
Oh,
I'll try to
nice.
find the add-ons and stuff I need to get it done. We'll see how that
Nice.
goes.
Yeah. And for those of you watching us on Twitch, her Twitch is actually linked in the title of the stream. So make sure to click that and go follow her over there. Yeah. Also, you can click her name there too. Yes. Wait, she's streaming the modded Sims. Is it modded or are you actually buying like the packs for everything?
I have all of it. Mods
All
and
of it.
packs. Yeah.
So what you're saying is
I like
you like the game.
the extra building stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
He's trying to get her to play Naughty Sims. So, but I
Oh
don't.
no. Oh no.
Ooh. Spicy.
There was a bit of a
Naughty.
show and tell earlier, and it's pretty great.
But
You're calling her after this? Oh my god.
Oh God.
Oh my lordy. All right. Well, thank you folks, both of you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody out there in the chat for joining us and keeping chat lively.
and welcome to the new faces that have joined us. It was really nice meeting you.
Yeah, I've seen some new faces out there, so super happy to see you. Welcome to Ashes. So yeah, everybody, you have yourselves a great day. You spent your time with us. We cannot give you refunds, so I hope you feel it was well spent here.
Should we raid Vladis or Yokai Theater?
Anybody have a preference?
I'm gonna get the raid started, but if you want to guide the raid, that determines the choice for us. But otherwise, I'll take whoever I see first. Vladis. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Good
Second
guy.
one.
Nude
Okay,
Boo said yokai.
All right. Looks like we're doing Yokai because the redeem was gotten.
Dream
so
was for
I'll grab
yokai?
that.
Okay. Hey, actually, it looks like we got 2 votes for that anyway.
Perfect. All right. I got that started. And whoop.
Be
Oh.
beautiful. All right.
Yay.
Well, once again,
Okay.
thank you, everybody. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.